In one of the most talked about moves of the season, Jetstreak abandoned all of their classic vehicles for a brand new look. Hi everybody, I'm Aaron Yonda. Welcome to Junkyard Joust. Jetstreak is joined by 4 other teams in Qualifier 7. Only 3 of these teams will move on. Let's take a closer look before we joust. Jetstreak has a whole new team, and it's mostly actual planes, appropriately enough. They're hoping that these planes will fly them all the way to the finals. Of course, everybody drinks Junkyard Juice, but now they have a team. Is it all just a marketing ploy, or are they here to actually compete? Jurassic Ride is back. They've swapped out 2 of their vehicles. They made it to 4th last season, barely missing the top 3. Mixed Nuts is a team of oddities. This time they've got a train, something that looks like a piece of cake, and a wagon. Sting Operation got 4th in the finals back in Season 3. Since then, they've struggled. They're hoping for a return to form.
It's Junkyard Juice!
Of course, when Junkyard Juice shows up, they bring along some product. Junkyard Joust fans getting into it over there, be careful. They're also introducing a new flavor. It's in that pink barrel. I think it's called Poisonous Pink. That does not sound encouraging. Klingons beware. Sponsored by Track Buffer LLC, it's Evil Weevil on the track and ready for action. Here we go, joust time. Round 1, starting off with Mixed Nuts, Formula Solar, sponsored by Coffee Run. Formula Solar has a nice looking ramp on the back of it. It's a light car, but if that ramp can stay put, it could do some good damage. Next up, Croc Rod for Sting Operation, sponsored by Judy Collins. Croc Rod takes that ramp and does a fantastic job of staying level, driving off to safety, and that will be a survival for Sting Operation. First up for Jetstreak, Blaze Buster, sponsored by G-Zeus. Blaze Buster flies off the ramp, and wow, that is a bad start for Jetstreak. It just flips right over instead of flying off and making a landing like you would expect a plane to do. Hopefully some of their other entries will be a little better. Poisonous Pink, named after the new drink, sponsored by the Aardvark of Freedom for Junkyard Juicers. Poisonous Pink hits the crates, flips over to a nice recovery, right over by the Joust fans. A promising recovery by that car. Velociracer for Jurassic Ride, sponsored by Sid from Cybertron. Velociracer takes that ramp and does not have a good result at all. It gets caught up on Evil Weevil. This does happen to cars from time to time, and that is a disappointing return for Velociracer. Mixed Nuts sending down Dragon Wagon full of Baby Cookie's friends, sponsored by Jedi. And there goes the babies and Dragon Wagon. Nice recovery by that vehicle. Bouncing babies all over the place. Certainly does look like a lot of fun. The infamous Turtle Shell, sponsored by Star Corps Industries. Turtle Shell takes the ramp and does a pretty good job of making a recovery happen. Looked a little iffy there for a second, but it looks like it's probably safe in that safety area. A lot of hype about this vehicle, Turbulence Tug, sponsored by Mark the Music Lover. It's a wide vehicle. Turbulence Tug goes off that ramp and does it right this time for Jetstreak. Looks like it could be tough to eliminate that thing. By the way, if you were thinking about submitting Turbulence Tug for the next custom joust, as you can see, it doesn't fit down the bridge, so you might want to rethink it. Submissions will be open fairly soon. I'll have a video out as soon as I can. Here comes the Berry Bus-splosion, sponsored by Sloss Automotive Sachet and Buffet. The bus takes down that ramp, crushes it, actually breaks off the ramp completely, and destroys Solar. That is an elimination for Berry Bus-splosion. I think Junkyard Juice needs to work harder on those names. 38 Dodge Airflow, sponsored by Sicken. The Airflow smacks that bus and almost gets it to tip over, but can't quite do it. Bus looks like it's going to settle down probably and make a recovery. Here comes the cake, Birthday Burner, sponsored by Hendrika's Heavy Hauling. Birthday Burner slams the airflow and manages to remain stable. 2 cars on the track. Dragon Tail, sponsored by PriceX Private Parts. Dragon Tail tries a takedown on Birthday Burner, throws it up on Turbulence Tug, but Birthday Burner makes a fantastic recovery, flipping down and over, showing some agility. Toyota Towing Tractor, sponsored by Sand Dragon Workshop for Jetstreak. Cookie riding down the towing tractor. She falls off, still kind of on the track. We've seen the towing tractor before. It proved to be a fairly good competitor. Next up for the juicers, the Lemon King, sponsored by DYW Production Labs. The Lemon King mixes it up on the track. Oh, and it kind of goes over sideways. Sours its takedown of the towing tractor with that result. Dragon tail looks good. Next up for Jurassic Aeropod, 76 grams, sponsored by Moo Cow Horse Farm. Aeropod slams into the line, pushes down the towing tractor. It does not make a recovery. Aeropod goes over the edge, and it looks like Lemon King is making a recovery now. Here comes Loco Loopster for Mixed Nuts. Loco Loopster slams into Aeropod, sends it flying over by the fence, but look at that nice recovery. Lemon King gets flipped on its lid, and now that long train is taking up a bunch of the track. Next up is Turbo Rooster, sponsored by King Jester. Ooh, a nice undercut there by Turbo Rooster. Sting Operation had Turbo Rooster clip one of its wings for this competition to make it more competitive, hopefully. Loco Loopster stays alive for now. Poison Arrow, sponsored by the Test Joust series. Watch the Test Joust home series over on the Junkyard Joust Discord. Link in the description. Poison Arrow doesn't do a whole lot, just kind of turns sideways. Kind of an odd jet. Those wheels don't seem to actually be wheels. Maximum Thirst Eliminator, sponsored by Tim the Bear Neal. Thirst Eliminator slams into the line, doesn't do a whole lot, pushes Loco Loopster off, cannot save Lemon King. Next hit coming down will be the Plesiosauria Transporter, sponsored by Emo Dingo. The Transporter sticks it to the Eliminator, but the Eliminator stays level. Poison Arrow starts to go up. Looks like right now it is close to eliminated. Loco Loopster getting close to one of the Joust fans. The Joust fan falls off his moped. I think that has more to do with the Junkyard Juice than anything. Big Rig, sponsored by Chorgoth the Infinite Horror. Big hit by the Big Rig. Looks like Poison Arrow went over the baby that was riding in Big Rig. Comes down a little bit late. Maybe Big Rig left without it. Looks like that's going to be another elimination for Jetstreak, who are really not doing great right now. Smooth Move, sponsored by Stump's Tree Farm. Smooth Move knocks that kid off the track and then escapes itself and manages to right itself as well. More or less safe, not quite. Big Jet coming down now, DC-10, sponsored by Farty Marty. The DC-10 takes a shot at Big Rig, but Big Rig shows off a little bit and makes a nice recovery there. And the baby that rode down on Big Rig tries to get back into the driver's seat on that hit. Can't quite do it. Fully Stocked, sponsored by Reaper EOD. Fully Stocked tries to take down that DC-10 and can't quite flip it over. DC-10 survives, but Turbo Rooster looks pretty close to eliminated right here. 92 Jeep Wrangler Sahara with Baby Petey and Jeff Goldblum, sponsored by Tribble's Trouble Anchors. The Jeep clobbers Fully Stocked, flips it over, takes it down. Petey spews out of the driver's seat. That'll be a loss for the Juicers, and that was the final vehicle of round one.
Oh dear, the carnage. Petey, are you okay? No response. Must be sleeping, and you should never wake a sleeping baby.
Looks like we are going to have 8 eliminations in round one. Not an auspicious start for Jetstreak. They are going to lose 3, but Turbulence Tug is still in it, and that thing looks like it could be tough to get rid of. Some people have even said impossible. Taking a look at the aftermath, Mixed Nuts lost only 1 down to 4. It's the same story for Sting Operation and Jurassic Ride. All 3 of those teams doing well. Junkyard Juicers lost 2 down to 3, and Jetstreak only has 2 left. Croc Rod will start us off for Sting Operation in round 2. Croc Rod immediately leaves the track, just gets out of there, and that's a great thing to do if you can manage it. Birthday Burner slots in next for Mixed Nuts. Ooh, the Dodge Airflow boots Birthday Burner into the crates. It makes a nice swivel. Would have been a recovery, but the crates got in the way and Birthday Burner is done. That'll take Mixed Nuts down to 3 as Poisonous Pink slots in. One of Jetstreak's 2 remaining, DC-10 boots Poisonous Pink off the track, hits the back of Airflow and just drives away. Gets away safely, unlike the Joust fan. She probably had some of that Junkyard Juice as well. Turtle Shell spins off the DC-10 and makes a nice flipping recovery. That recovery was almost acrobatic by Turtle Shell. DC-10 looks like it is probably in. Big Rig slams into the airflow. The baby goes flying out of the seat. Actually, not much of a seat on that thing. After a little messing about, the Big Rig slots in. Solid hit from the transporter, and Big Rig makes a nice recovery. Flips over Turtle Shell and turns around to look at him. Transporter is locked in. Maximum Thirst Eliminator locks it in nice and tight on the track. And then, boom, a big hit from Turbulence Tug, but look at the steadiness of all the cars on the track. Nobody displaced by that except Evil Weevil. Maximum Thirst Eliminator just staying locked right in. Dragon Tail takes a shot at Turbulence Tug and can't really do much with it, a little too bulky. 113 grams of train come flying down the track. Turbulence is displaced a little bit, does not tip over at all though, those wings preventing that from happening. And now it looks like Loco Loopster is in trouble. Big hit from Aeropod, and Loco Loopster has two cars turned over. One of them still right side up, but the other two are sideways, so that would be an elimination if it stays like that. Nice recovery by Aeropod. An even heavier hit from Berry Busplosion, 148 grams, and that plane goes flying on the back of Turbulence Tug. Looks like Loco Loopster is definitely out now. All three cars turned over sideways. Turbulence Tug whaps both of the Junkyard Joust fans. They are already out of it though. They're probably not even gonna notice. And I don't even think Berry Busplosion noticed Smooth Move colliding with it. Dragon Wagon pinches Smooth Move out of position, but a nice recovery by Smooth Move. Flipping over sideways, but then rocking it back right side up. And look at that, one of the babies actually managed to stay in the wagon. Jeep Wrangler does the same thing to the wagon. Wagon handles it and lands right side up. Final baby comes skittering out, goes back down the track somehow, leaps over the Jeep. Jeff?
Well, babies are known to flip out around me. True story.
Only 2 eliminations in round 2. This was a competitive round, and we are going to take one measurement. Bad news for Jetstreak, it's on one of theirs, DC-10, but the DC-10 is in at 41 degrees, and they are good to go. Taking a look at the aftermath, the eliminations came from Mixed Nuts, entirely from Mixed Nuts. They fall from 4 to 2. Everybody else remains steady. Evil Weevil looks a little nervous looking over at the sidelines. Oh wow, the Klingons must have imbibed some poisonous pink, and it's a real mess. The Joust fans are still down. No time for cleanup. It's time to joust. Round 3. Croc Rod will start us off again for Sting Operation, who are still at 4 in this match. Followed up by Jurassic Ride, also still at 4 and looking good. The Airflow cannot wrestle Croc Rod off the track yet. Poisonous Pink sends Croc Rod off the track to safety. Big Rig cuts under Poisonous Pink, but Poisonous Pink makes a nice landing on top of Croc Rod. 2 cars on the track. DC-10 kind of flumps underneath Big Rig somehow with the wing, gets it up on top of the wing, trying to get some weight on top of it so it can't be thrown off by the next vehicle. And it works. Dragon Tail cannot get DC-10 off, but Big Rig is thrown over and just enough impetus to get it sideways. No chance of recovery. That'll be another loss for Mixed Nuts. Transporter splits the field, knocks that DC-10 up and over, but it manages to pull it together and make the landing. Meanwhile, Dragon Tail looks very iffy right now. That could be beyond 45. Maximum Thirst Eliminator comes down after Transporter like last time. Worked out great last time, so why not try it again? A wagon full of babies plows into Thirsty Eliminator, and the babies go flying all over the place this time. Somehow the wagon starts to get underneath the Thirst Eliminator and goes curbside. Turbulence Tug comes down and knocks both of them careening off the track. Look at that great roll. Thirsty Eliminator makes it happen, and the wagon's getting pushed around a little bit, still on the track. Turtle Shell pushes Tug forward just a bit, goes off of the back of the Plesiosaurus. kind of balanced on top of one of the babies. Looks a little unstable, but luckily the wings prevent it from flipping. Big smack by Aeropod, wrestles Turtle Shell off the track, and Turtle Shell goes sideways. Aeropod may have just taken down Turtle Shell pretty early in the match, only round 3. And maybe I spoke too soon, because Barry Busplosion rescues Turtle Shell, makes it make a recovery off to the side. No eliminations on the hit. Smooth Move again can't do anything. Back of that bus in the way, pops up in the air and then lands it back down on the track. And again, final car of the round, Jeep Wrangler smushes Smooth Move between that bus and itself. The Jeep trying to push it up on top of that Plesiosaurus and get it sideways, but it doesn't work.
I must say I am very disappointed.
Maybe next time, Jeff. We've got 1 elimination in round 3. Man, the eliminations just aren't really happening. We're gonna take a measurement though on Dragon Tail. Oh wow, it was so close, but 48 degrees. That's 3 degrees beyond the elimination level. That's 2 eliminations then from 2 different teams. Mixed Nuts falls down to 1. Sting Operation falls down to 3. Everybody else same as before. Round 4, I'm getting the feeling this might be a long match. All 5 of these teams have some pretty decent competitors. This is turning into one of the most fierce competitions we've seen all season. 3 cars lined up right now. Turbulence Tug brings the mayhem. Poisonous Pink is over-easied and eliminated, but look at that well-balanced recovery by Croc Rod. That is showing some serious agility. Dragon Wagon nudges its way under Turbulence Tug and almost ousts it off the track. One of the babies managing to stay in the wagon this time. Aeropod knocks Turbulence and the wagon completely off the track, and now only Jurassic Park remain on the track. The baby couldn't hang on. Great hit by Aeropod. Turtle Shell tries to get a little payback for that near elimination last round, headbutts the back of Aeropod up on top of Airflow, a very precarious position. A lot of action this round. Barry Busplosion throwing 2 vehicles off. Aeropod makes the recovery in the safety area. Turtle Shell also makes the recovery over by his teammate. The DC-10 noses into the bus, but the bus is not moving. Plesiosaurus sends that airplane into the air, and it has a good flight. Chaotic flight, little bit of turbulence, but it makes the landing. Wow, close call for Jetstreak. Ooh, Smooth Move with a bad hop up onto the back of the transporter. Gets kind of hung up on the dinosaur, and that is just an unlikely position. If Smooth Move stays there, it's in trouble. Maximum Thirst Eliminator knocks Smooth Move off, but it does not change its position. Gets stuck on the side of the track. Bad luck for Smooth Move and Sting Operation. The Jeep Wrangler speeds down the track. Jeff Goldblum in the back seat. Maximum Thirst makes a nice recovery. PD goes flying, and that is gonna end round 4. A lot of action in this round, only 2 eliminations. Things are really heating up. I would not be surprised if we're gonna be increasing speed sooner than later. Round 4 aftermath. Mixed Nuts is holding on with the Dragon Wagon. Sting Operation and Junkyard Juicers fall to 2. They are now even with Jetstreak. Jurassic Ride are dominating. They have not lost one since round 1. It's a good sign when you can go 4 rounds and only lose 1 car. Let's not forget the Crimson Crashers, of course, who made it through a qualifier with all 5 cars. The DC-10 finds some airflow off the back of the Airflow and manages to land it fairly stable. Croc Rod handles that back and bounces back, goes a bit down the track. Maximum Thirst knocks Croc Rod off to freedom and lines up right behind the Airflow. Dragon Wagon with its baby payload delivers 2 babies to the grass. Gets a little bit underneath the Eliminator again. Let's see if it can do anything this time. That baby that's figured out how to stay in the wagon needs to talk to those other 2. Aeropod with the big slam and it backfires. Aeropod flips over sideways. Can't quite make that recovery happen. It was close though, balancing on two wheels. Eliminator and the wagon both survived that hit. Jurassic goes one more down and may have finally showed a crack in the dragon scale. Turbulence Tug can't do anything to the airflow. It remains steady. The big tug gets rebuffed. Turtle Shell pokes his head underneath that big plane and gets it at least partially off the track, but cannot flip it over. Certainly looks like it is possible to flip that thing over, though. Berry Busplosion tries to help, but ends up eliminating Turtle Shell. Turbulence Tug makes it off to safety. Turtle Shell finally runs out of luck over by the Eliminator. Just couldn't make that recovery happen for some reason. Turbulence bashes the insensible Joust fans around a little bit more and their mopeds. Somehow, Petey and Jeff both stay in the Jeep on that hit to the back of the bus, and they're gonna have to take a friendly hit now.
Yikes!
The transporter is as gentle as it can possibly be. Petey still falls out, but the Jeep is okay and moving on to the next round, so no tragic loss for Jurassic Park. Although there is going to be 3 losses in that round. That's the most we've seen in a while. Round 5, a pretty devastating one. Now, this measurement was just to make sure it was in. Unfortunately, I forgot that it was in between taking the measurement and setting up for the next round. So I got all the remaining cars together, including the DC-10, and with the intent of rerunning the end of the match to see if anything was going to be different. And as you can see in this clip, the DC-10 did me a favor and self-eliminated way over to the right there. So I figured rather than reshoot everything and have to delay the episode, that's just going to count as the DC-10's elimination, and the rest of the match can proceed as filmed. So here's the round 5 aftermath. Jurassic Ride falls down to 3. Jetstreak and Sting Operation fall to 1, and on with round 6, starting off with the Dodge Airflow, as you already saw. 3 teams with only 1 car remaining. Those teams are gonna have to be very careful now. Berry Busplosion knocks the airflow off the track. You can almost imagine the DC-10 over to the right over there. Dragon Wagon sends babies all over the place. Somehow one of them hangs on despite that massive hit, and the bus and wagon bounce way back down the track. Croc Rod lost the remaining baby into the air. Dragon Wagon goes curbside, and we got 3 cars lined up. Turbulence Tug with a mighty lunge, and Dragon Wagon is forced off the track. Croc Rod just about. No eliminations on that hit. Transporter with a massive hit on the Tug. The Tug goes up, but not over. Wow, that was the closest it has gotten to being flipped over. Close call for Jetstreak. Thirst Eliminator punches into position, and the Jeep Wrangler comes down last. Once again, Jeff and Petey cannot eliminate the Eliminator.
Maximum Thirst Disappointer is more like it.
And now things are going to ramp up a bunch. No eliminations in that round. We're going to increase the speeds and get some eliminations. Here goes the Dodge Airflow, knocking it into position. Thirst Eliminator, ooh, finds its demise on the back of the airflow like many vehicles do. Cannot quite handle it at the increased speed. It's out. Turbulence Tug slots into position. Going to be followed up by Dragon Wagon, which slides right under the Tug, knocks it off the track to safety. Jetstreak survived the round. Croc Rod cannot get rid of Dragon Wagon and take out Mixed Nuts. They will stay in for the moment. Got a plane wing stuck in between them right now. A boom from Transporter, and Dragon Wagon makes a beautiful recovery right at the last second, turns over, and Mixed Nuts will survive the round. Croc Rod is poised for a hit here. The hit is from Berry Busplosion, and Croc Rod does not land it. Flips over at the last second, just a big bounce, a little too big, goes over and is out. And we are gonna lose our first team. Sting Operation are finished. Jeff and Petey in the Jeep, no further action. 2 cars eliminated in the round, and 1 team. Let's take a look at the aftermath. Big surprise Sting Operation eliminated. They have done this a couple of times now. They're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. Junkyard Juicers falls to 1. Jurassic way out in front with 3 left. They start off with the airflow. Increased speeds are still in effect. Dragon Wagon next, and somehow two babies have figured out how to stay in the wagon even at increased speeds. Impressive, they are definitely figuring this out. But Turbulence Tug sends them both flying in a very strange way, flipping up and then over, and we got 3 locked in. Berry Bussplosion with a big hit. Wow, that's the closest that we've seen Turbulence Tug get to flipping over. And look at this, Dragon Wagon is close to elimination right now. Looking really close to 45. But that hit from the Jeep is actually gonna save Dragon Wagon. The Jeep goes curbside, and Jeff's gonna have to take a hit from Transporter. Ooh, it does not end well. Some friendly fire, and Jeff and the Wrangler are finished. There's Jeff just hanging out.
Oh no, betrayed by a dinosaur. The cruelest irony.
Jeff and his Jeep might be the only elimination in the round, but we are gonna take a measurement. The tug part of Turbulence Tug is very close to 45 as it turns out, and that's the part that matters when it comes to elimination. Measured by the straight line seam at the very top, it appears to be at 43. Turbulence Tug will remain in, keeping Jet Streak going and their chances alive. Jurassic Ride finally falls to 2. Things are getting closer and closer. Round 9, this has been an epic match. It's still anybody's game. Tug rebounds off the airflow. So far, the bus is the only thing that's been able to get airflow off the track. Dragon Wagon with a pretty ineffective hit on Turbulence Tug, spreading some babies around. And here comes the bus. Another big hit from the Berry Bussplosion. Turbulence Tug survives it again, and so does Dragon Wagon. Baby flies up on top of the bus. Looks like it's gonna hang out up there. Dragon Wagon manages to escape getting tangled up in that plane. Final car of the round, the Transporter manages to knock the Tug around a little bit, but it balances successfully. Another round with no eliminations means we're gonna go to maximum speed. Jurassic is the only team that can afford a loss at this point. Any other car gets eliminated and it's all over. 10 rounds in a qualifier is pretty wild. A massive hit from Dragon Wagon, and babies are flying everywhere. Nobody's staying in Dragon Wagon this time, but somehow it stays on the track, though curbside. Berry Bussplosion with a big hit, and Dragon Wagon gets tangled up on Evil Weevil. The bus looks like it lost its bumper on that huge hit, goes flying over by the crates. Dragon Wagon looks really close. Turbulence Tug with a pretty steady hit, trying to stay alive. It wobbles a little and remains farther down the track. Boom! A massive hit from Transporter, and that is gonna do it for Turbulence Tug. Completely knocked upside down and over with that massive amount of speed and the heavy vehicle. Jurassic has eliminated Jet Streak from the match. Jurassic Park showing why they made it to 4th in the finals last season. They dominated in this match. But it's not over yet. We have to take a measurement on Dragon Wagon. Jet Streak still has a chance. If Dragon is out, we'd go to points. Dragon Wagon, 42 degrees. It will remain in. And Mixed Nuts are going to the main event. Jet Streak's experiment ended in tragedy. I have a feeling they won't try that again. Junkyard Juicers, Mixed Nuts, Jurassic Ride. They are all gonna move on. 148 points, not too shabby. Junkyard Juicers stayed alive. I don't think a lot of people thought they were gonna make it. Bonus action is gonna go to Jurassic Ride. That'll give them another edge in the main event. Congratulations to these 3 teams. We'll get that bumper glued back on the bus in time for the main event. Speaking of the main event, just 2 more matches before we start it. Also starting soon, the minor leagues, and coming in early September, and also coming in late August or early September, the announcement about the Custom Apocalypse Joust. Thanks so much to my patrons for making this show possible. I could not do it without you. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you next time on The Joust.